Most of us have long forgotten our New Year's resolutions to get in shape. Remember that time back in January? I think it took me until February 1st to forget about that. But the summer months can be a great motivator to get back on track. And to help us do that, or you, let's bring in Gayle Taub, nutrition coach and fitness trainer with Gazelle Health. Gayle, so great to have you back on the show.
Good morning, Ronnie.
You are kind of like that little nudge. Every time I see your name, I'm like, oh, I meant to get back on track. I meant to get back on track.
Yeah, well, we all need that from each other. It's really helpful when you have somebody who's kind of there, who's always there, and who helps you remember, got to take care of yourself.
You are that person, not my husband, who brings Twinkies and whole ding-dongs and every other junk food into the house.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking, you said there are 3 pillars to health. Last week, we talked about how you move. This week, we want to talk about how you eat. You know, they say you can't outrun a bad diet. How important is what we put into our bodies?
Wow. Super important. Those 3 pillars, how you move, how you eat, and how you think, are equally important to one another. There isn't this 80-20 rule or 50-50 rule or one's more important. However, I will say that trying to do everything at once to improve yourself is not a great idea either. So picking one thing out of one of those categories to improve yourself is a really good way to go. Today we're going to talk about food.
You know, it's so hard because I'm like, okay, it's Monday. I don't know what it is. Like, you feel like you need to start on a Monday. You know, I'm going to go to the grocery store on Sunday, and on Monday I'm going to start these new, healthier eating habits. But by Wednesday, we run into stress. We don't feel like cooking. What are some tips to try to keep ourselves on track?
So the whole idea of stopping and starting, can you imagine not having to do that? So if you don't have to stop and start, and you just have a good way to take care of yourself that isn't following exact rules every day, because life does not unfold like that for us every day, that you just do what's right for you, and you learn over time how to deal with different situations that are either expected or unexpected. So the biggest tip I have is the idea of, I'll get to it tomorrow once I'm done with today, or I'll get back on track, is perhaps not a great way for any of us to approach doing the right thing for ourselves. It's really about doing something every single day and having little strategies in your pocket for all different situations that you gather over time that will help you to just stay in the zone of taking care of yourself instead of following a rule or not following a rule.
You know, I'm like so many people when I'm on Pinterest, and we see, you know, and I always pin it too, right? Like, how to food prep on a Sunday for the rest of the week, and you see them putting like the salads in the jars so they last longer, or making snack bags to take with you. Do those really work? Is that a good way to approach this?
It only works if you're someone who thinks that that's a good idea and that you enjoy being in the kitchen and prepping and that it helps you. It does not work for everyone. It helps in a lot of ways, but there are other methods that you can use depending on you and what is important to you. So the answer, I think, in short, is not all of the approaches and strategies work for everyone, right? And that's why when people work with me, we find out together what works for you, and we experiment and we try things, and then you notice, you know what, food prep on Monday does not, or Sunday doesn't work for me. I hate being in the kitchen, or I can't get to the grocery store. And so we have a conversation about what would work better in order to kind of keep things on track for that person. And that's where the sweet spot is, when you find something that works for you rather than what everyone else talks about is necessary in the masses.
I love that you're saying that because it really is about your reality. My day-to-day life is different than the next person's or the next person or the next person. And so to be able to talk to someone like you, and you can say, okay, what is your reality? Okay, how can we fix this so that it works within your lifestyle? And you'll make it not a new, a part of a diet, but really it's about changing the way you live.
Slowly but surely. So that's a really good example of what we all get caught up in when we watch the Instagram posts and we listen to other people talk or advise us. None of those people know you. None of them know what you deal with in your world, or what your belief systems are, or what your preferences are, or what feels good, or gives you an opportunity to try something specific that you're interested in, that perhaps we come up with together, or maybe you've been thinking about, and only focus on that one thing. Instead of just saying, I guess I have to food prep. I'm not a kitchen person. I don't know when I don't even know where to go in the grocery store. And by the way, I don't care. I'm somebody who likes to eat in restaurants. So when we have that conversation, it really is very, very focused on figuring out what to try for you. And it's pretty fun and amazing when people start to focus here instead of out there, what can be accomplished. It's the most rewarding, fabulous thing that I've ever experienced in my life, is watching people recognize that.
I love that you said that. Hey, can I take you grocery shopping with me?
Yes, let's go.
Right.
You pick the store and we'll meet.
I've always thought like that would be great if, like, instead of ordering online and having, the Kroger employee pick your food, how about if you have someone at the front who says, okay, let me go shopping with you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I always have good intentions, but you go into the store and you kind of get overwhelmed a little bit.
Yes. So one of the nice things about having me in your corner, working privately with you, is simply that. I've been to the grocery store with my folks. And you know what the fun thing about that is? They get to tell me their favorite foods, and we get to talk about options, right? So maybe there's a favorite snack that they like that isn't really serving them very well, and they want to taper back on. I have options, right? I explain how to simply read a label on a product so that you understand how you need to look at that food and know if it's right for you or how much of it is right for you. So the education, but the very personalized education, and I would say even more than personalized, I would say personal.
Yeah.
So personalized, you hear that term all the time. You plug in some information, you get a personalized plan back. That's very different than a personal plan, something personal to you. The only way I'm going to know that is if we talk, if we spend time, if I understand and you share, and then I can guide.
I love that. We have people who are passionate about different subjects so that you can be the expert and guide us as we're trying to make these changes. How does a person really know if they need to change their diet or not?
Awesome question. So I would say that there's a few things that you should pay attention to, and give yourself maybe a week or two to look for these kinds of things. Number one, we're all pretty hard on ourselves, but be honest with yourself. How's your weight, right? Is your weight where it should be? I'm not asking you what you used to be when you were, 22 years old.
Thank you.
In your mid-50s. I'm saying be an honest look at yourself. Are you overweight? Are you underweight? How's that weight doing? Also notice, how do you feel throughout your day, after you eat? Are you starving and kind of binge eat because you've been so busy? How do you feel? Are you energized? Are you sluggish? Do you have a 3 o'clock, a food coma? So notice that. Also notice how you sleep. How is your sleep? We do not talk about that enough as it relates to how we eat. And sleep is critical, and that nice amount of sleep, that's one thing, that's a time thing, but also the quality of your sleep has something to do with how you eat as well as other factors. You also need to kind of look and see what are your biometrics, and that is a term used about the core medical aspects of yourself, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your heart rate, all of these things that the doctor can tell you, so we're not making things up, right? And then also, probably the most important, your gut, right? Now, I'm not talking about physically your gut, I'm talking about mentally. You know if there's things in your diet that you're having too much of or too little of. You know in your heart how you're eating. So be honest with yourself. And after you notice these things, make a little list and say, you know, this is what I've seen. And then you can actually choose on your own to clean one thing up. Pick one thing. You know what? I've noticed I don't feel so good after I have lunch every day because I'm sleeping. Let me look and see what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Do I understand? Call a professional. Call me. I'll help you understand.
And with that, I'm so sorry because we're running out of time. We just need to start giving you more time. But again, you can please watch the On Demand and get in contact with Gayle. She has so much great advice. That's going to wrap it up for today's edition of The Splash Live. We'll be back tomorrow, 9:30 a.m.